Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marotti.
I'm Oscar from Men on a Mission.
We have a brand new Wrestling Insiders coming your way. Stand by.
Cheer! Why, hello. I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insiders. I'm Dan Marotti, along with my partner in crime, the man on a mission, the vice president of the Millennium Wrestling Federation, Oscar. Brother, that's a hell of an introduction for a man that's got a 5-letter name.
Well, thank you. I mean,
Did you ever think of adding a last name to Oscar?
no.
Oscar Pollock.
No, well, see, the thing is, I didn't give myself Oscar, so, I mean, that was a Vince McMahon creative team in the 90s idea, so.
26 years after you became Oscar, do you think you warrant a last name?
Nah, let Sleeping Dogs
Would that be like
lie.
Cher adding one at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
You are what you are, baby.
Yeah, I mean, there was no, Mabel Gonzalez. There was no, Mo Johnson. So there's not going to be no Oscar Friedman. It's just going to be Oscar.
Just going to be Oscar. All right. Well, fans, again, you can be whatever name you want to be. Saturday night, December the 28th, for our homecoming, part of the 8th annual Paul Bear Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. It's MWF Project X, emanating from the historic Memorial Hall, Melrose, Mass., 2 blocks down the road. Saturday night, December the 28th, we're going to have a lot of fun with our friends, some folks with us for the very first time. You and David Reese have been very busy putting together an all-star caliber lineup. Mark Henry, Vicky Guerrero, TJP, Tony Atlas, my other sidekick, the Hall of Famer and WWE talent scout Gerald Briscoe, and so many more. For information, head on over to bostonwrestling.com. Discount VIP packages and tickets available through Cyber Monday. And if you want to save a few bucks, why not get them early? It helps us, it helps you. Everybody's happy when we go that way, right?
There you go.
All right. Well, the fans, they've been sending us tweets. They've been sending us emails on different topics to discuss. When we have the legends, the veterans come to the studio, Oscar, and certainly with your run in WWF, you are one of the great vets still with us in the industry. They want to know, how do you look at the quote-unquote Wednesday night wars, the battle ongoing right now between WWE, NXT, and AEW, All Elite Wrestling?
Okay, well, all right. There's a kind of a lengthy answer to that.
All right, well, good. That's what we like.
AEW would have better been serviced just running, just having a product. Now, when they decided to take on the WWE, I thought that was a big mistake, because anybody that tries to get in competition with the WWE historically has lost.
How did they choose to go into battle with WWE?
Well, number one, I mean, going on when NXT is going on.
No, that's 100% wrong. AEW had a television show long. WWE NXT was on the network.
Okay.
They moved NXT to the USA Network in response to AEW going to TNT.
That's my point. That's my point. That's a mistake.
So you think AEW threw the first grenade by putting a show on as opposed to NXT on the network?
Yes.
Really? Okay. I didn't look at it quite like that.
Because now you're in direct competition. Okay?
Do you think it would have been better for AEW to target maybe Tuesday or Thursday when there was no
Any other night.
any other night?
Because, like I said, they should just have ran their product, run your race. Now you're in competition with a man whose ego is not gonna. Vince McMahon will spend down to the last dollar to put AEW out of business.
You think that's his goal right now?
Yes.
Really?
He's not. I know Vince McMahon.
You do?
And I know, and I've watched what has happened. He did it to WCW. He bought WCW just to get rid of him. What does that tell you? He absorbed ECW just to phase it out. AEW is not only in competition, but they are antagonizing the man. You are sticking a stick at a hornet's nest. And he is not, he's like the Terminator. He will, no, I'm talking to AEW right now. He will not stop. He can't be bargained with. He can't be reasoned with. You have put a stick in the hornet's nest, and he is not going to stop, and he's going to use all his resources till he has gotten rid of you. You have got to look. First thing you got to do is see if you got fans or you got a bunch of people that are treating this as a fad. Number two, stop making your wrestlers do all high spots throughout all the matches because you don't have a limitless pool of talent like they do. WWE got a limitless pool of talent. So if somebody on the main roster get hurt, somebody from NXT can come and take their spot. If all the NXT got eradicated by an Ebola virus on a bus, they got the performance center and people just coming through the door. So they have a limitless pool of talent. AEW at this point right now, today, they do not.
So if Tony Khan, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks were sitting around this room right now, that would be your advice to them?
That would be my advice. Stop competing with them people and just do what you do.
At this point on Wednesday nights, which program do you think looks the more major league of the two, AEW or NXT?
I have not watched an episode of NXT since its inception.
You've never seen NXT?
I've never seen NXT. I have seen AEW, and it does look fantastic.
Well, I think the problem that NXT runs into right now is that it takes place at a Full Sail University, which is a facility that holds 400 or 500 fans. I think when you have AEW, that right now, after the initial magnificent launch the company had, where they've kind of settled into running events in front of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people, you know, it looks much more professional, much more major league than the NXT offering on the other channel.
Anything brand new is going to look fantastic, but ask yourself.
Well, NXT is brand new to the people that don't have WWE Network, and it looks like it's a show in front of 400 or 500 people.
NXT has the WWE umbrella to sail under. Ask yourself one fundamental question,
Let's
and
hear it,
I don't
baby.
know the
Let's
answer.
hear it. All right.
What is AEW going to look like 6 months from now?
What is NXT going to look like 6 months from now?
Again, they looking good because of the umbrella
They're
that
in
they
the umbrella.
sail under.
Well, let's throw out some factoids. We like that. AEW, again, a magnificent launch as it was created. A great success on pay-per-view for a company with no television backing.
Is. I was at the first Starcast where it was at the
Chicago.
Hyatt Hotel in Chicago. I was there. There was not even room to walk in their fan fest. That was impressive.
You sold out of 8x10s the second day, you said.
It sold out. The pay-per-view sold out in 4 minutes. That was impressive. Now, are you going to keep that momentum going? That's the question.
Well, they sold out Washington, D.C. week 1. They sold out Boston down the road week 2, which was great. We opened up some doors with the fine folks at AEW. Week 3 in Philly sold out. Like I said, now it's kind of settling into, they're drawing well for a brand new company, but it's not these instant sellouts like they were used to. Even their upcoming pay-per-view in Baltimore next it'll be November, so it'll be this month by the time the fans see
I
this.
worry about that. Why is
Well,
there,
the thing, it doesn't have to be a sellout for it to be a success.
No. But what I'm trying to say is they sold out in 4 minutes. Now they're not selling that at all. Ask yourself, is that momentum going a downshift now?
I think it's become more realistic in what is going to be a sustainable model going forward. If it continues to dwindle, then you have a real problem. If it stays at this level, I think it's great. They're still having their production costs covered by the TNT network, so they don't have that overhead to worry about. And thus far, it has been a successful venture. Here is where I begin to worry, Oscar. You look at the launch of NXT on the USA Network to try and jump the gun on AEW. They went on USA 2 weeks before AEW debuted. In those 7 weeks since, every episode of NXT has declined in the ratings. AEW was an enormous success week 1. Each week, AEW has continued to decline in the ratings. Both programs have not had one increase in any episode since their debut. How do you look at that?
That's for AEW, it's a problem.
Why is it not for NXT?
Because NXT is going to stay where it is. Okay? If nothing else for pride and ego. AEW not the same thing. Because see, I don't know Tony Khan. I don't know who he is.
We'd like to have him here. I know that.
I know.
I'd love to sit
have,
with him.
I know.
He's invited.
I don't know Tony Khan. I don't know where he is. What I do know,
Jacksonville, Florida.
What I do know is his counterpart, Vince McMahon, is passionate about wrestling. He's passionate about his company. He's passionate about what he does. So he is going to back NXT until the wheels fall off. If Tony Khan has that same mentality, then there's a fight. Let's talk about TNT for a second. Networks care about ratings. Any show that does not get ratings, and I swear to you, I haven't seen a contract, but I know how these things work. In the contract, there are 2 pages, at least, that speak to whether or not, if the ratings do not keep up, we have the right to drop you.
People fail to remember sometimes that when WCW went out of business, it had nothing to do with bad creative. In reality, to a point, it wasn't even all about the ratings. It was that the viewership sank so much that it was the advertising, the rates that they were able to charge for the program, that they weren't able to make any money off of it.
Tomato. It's the same
thing in a roundabout way. They had to do make goods with so many sponsors that they weren't making any money on the episodes as they ran originally. It turned into a huge problem, and that's why TNT, the Turner family, was ready to dump it so easily. But in this instance, TNT has a very small investment for a show that, for better or worse, right now is doing very well in the target 18 to 49-year-old male demographic on a show. Most people watch live, so there is a lot of value to that. You look at right now, Raw's ratings are in the toilet. SmackDown's ratings are in the toilet. At the same time, they more than tripled their TV rights deals because they are looked at as kind of a quasi-sport that most people do watch live when it's presented, and there's value in that to advertising. It's something that, like a lot of Major League sports, it's sort of DVR-proof, even though...
Okay, now you mentioned their ratings being in the toilet, but look historically. Back in the 90s, okay, the ratings were in the toilet, fans were not coming to anything, okay? But today, 2019, they still here.
They are.
Can you say AEW or anybody else for that matter is going to sail their ship until it sinks to the bottom of the ocean, get some cranes and lift that ship back up so where it can sail again?
We don't know. You look at TNA, Impact. They've been around since 2002. Outside of a very brief instance, they've never really run a full-time schedule, but they've managed to stay alive, which is a good thing for the industry. Ring of Honor, the same thing. They have some disastrous scenarios fall into place for them. The business is hurting right now. Their top talent that they should have used their finances from the Sinclair Group to lock into long-term contracts to actually help draw a solid fan base to their live events. They let them go. Ring of Honor has had to cancel some events. You've seen some attendances that are down across the board. I interact with a lot of the venues that the Major League Wrestling companies run, not to get into anyone specifically, but There are those that Ring of Honor have run that have said it's bad right now. So I don't know what the long-term future could be. I don't know why a company with so much money doesn't try and invest a little in their investment, being in the Ring of Honor wrestling promotion.
But see, you comparing two things that don't have a comparison.
Tell me, brother.
Yeah, they still run, but WWE still runs at maximum overdrive. Okay?
But nobody cares right now.
Who? No. Okay, I'll put it like this.
All right.
You mentioned TNA and Ring of Honor, right?
Right.
Okay.
They're on
Saying
life
that
support,
WWE,
baby.
Okay, but WWE is not on life support.
No.
So that's the difference. You can mention TNA and you can say Ring of Honor, but neither one of them are doing anywhere close to the business that WWE is doing, nor will they ever.
The problem with WWE is the huge drops in popularity across every level, whether it's the TV ratings, whether it's merchandising, whether it's live events. For the first time, WWE Network subscriptions are down.
That's today, Dan.
That's today.
That's today.
That's today.
They have always found a way to bounce back.
Since 2001, when has there been an increase in WWE's business?
That's okay. Well, like I
Outside of finances, if you look at popularity levels, you look at TV ratings, you look at it, regular attendance, you show me where there's been an upswing outside of maybe very, very minuscule one since 2001. 18 years, you show me where there's been an upswing of any kind in WWE's business.
May not have been doing an upswing, but they're still doing way, way, way better business than their competitors.
18 years is a long time to see drop.
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is they don't care.
Maybe they should. They have a...
Maybe you're right. Maybe they should. If you was at the helm, maybe you would care, but they don't. As long as they can do business to break even, sustain, okay, I'll put it like this. This is what I say. As long as Vince, Stephanie, Triple H, and whoever the hell else, as long as their credit card don't decline at the supermarket, they're going to keep doing what they do.
They're not worried. What I find kind of humorous to some degree is that where WWE is a publicly traded company, you see now some of the financial papers running articles about AEW entering into the professional wrestling business against, quote unquote, in competition with WWE. And I just think it's funny that the people from this side of the planet, compared to what we do, trying to give an insider look at how AEW is going to affect WWE. It's almost comical, but it's interesting to see how the rest of the world outside of the professional wrestling bubble kind of looks at what's going on inside of it. You know what I mean?
Well, see, but that's their job. I mean, the same thing happens in politics. The same thing happens in just about anything. You know, news people offer what they do is they get on TV and they state facts. A kid got shot, what the weather's gonna be, and then beside that, they get these panels, and these panels all have opinions. But that's what they are, they're opinions. They don't know. They can't foresee. Some of them get it right, but if they get it right, it's sure luck and happenstance.
Are you surprised that thus far AEW has won handedly each weekly battle in the ratings?
No, no, I'm not surprised.
You're not?
I'm not surprised because here comes a promotion with a couple of guys that got a huge amount of money to spend. That makes a big difference.
What talents are you referring to?
No, I'm talking about the cons.
Yeah.
I'm talking about them, you know, opening up a huge war chest. But my question about the cons is, okay, if things start to get bad, is that war chest going to stay as wide open as it's staying now? I know with Vince it is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I know Vince is going to keep that war chest wide open, and he's going to keep trying different things to make it happen till something works. He's not going to close shop, and he's not going to diminish anything.
Here's where I think you're going to run into a problem. And historically, especially over the past 18 years, it's kind of been where WWE goes, to try and stop short-term bleeding as opposed to long-term creativity. I think you're going to see more talents from Raw and SmackDown go to NXT to try and boost that Wednesday night rating. Thus, overexposing talents that are already overexposed a lot of the times on 52 episodes per year. And I don't think that's a good thing.
No, what I don't think, let me tell you what I don't think is a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing where they have NXT talent coming to the main roster, wrecking shop in the beginning, and as soon as they get there.
How should they be brought in your opinion?
They should be brought in like jobbers and work their way up the way it makes sense.
Don't you think that's kind of castrating what could be talent with potential?
No, no.
You don't?
I think that if they, I know how to put this.
All right.
Macho Man Randy Savage gave me the best advice in the business I ever got. I think I told you this.
You did. I know the exact phrase.
I was depressed about not being in SummerSlam '93, and he told me, brother, the longer it takes for them to build you up and for you to do things, the longer you're going to be here. If you come in and you just come in successful and you just come in beating everybody and this, that, and the other, after a year or 2 years, there's no place for you to go but out the door. I'll give you a prime example. Ryback. Ryback came and who the hell is this? And Ryback was holding everybody up with the suplex and beating everybody. Where's Ryback at now? And he wasn't there 10 years.
He was a result of about as poor or creative a product as humanly possible.
But what I'm trying to tell you is when you do that,
they hot-shotted
right
into that main event with CM Punk because they had no one else due to injury, and they had him job. A guy that was on a hot undefeated streak. He jobbed to Punk. Then he was in a triple threat with that Survivor Series with Punk and Cena. Then I think they even lost in a six-man Ryback. I think it was Kane and Daniel Bryan in a TLC to the Shield. And then the sizzle wore off the man, so to speak. He was put in a mid, even undercard position at times, and he eventually left, which was a shame because there's a guy that could be making the money right now.
But okay, now, you talking about his failures, but where did he start?
On the bottom.
No, Ryback did not start on the bottom.
He worked squash matches every week for months. Two-on-one handicap matches.
Ryback got in a position where he came in not too long after he came in, and he was beating everybody. They had Ryback unbeatable.
So you think the best way to have gotten Ryback over was to lose early on?
Yes.
Oh, I disagree with you on that one.
No, you build talent. You don't have talent build you.
I think they built Ryback perfectly, having him beat jobbers for so long. They were forced their hand because they had no one for Punk to work with in the Hell in the Cell main event when Cena went down to injury.
Before Punk, Ryback was beating top-tier talent.
That's how you got him over. He was over as you-know-what.
But he was over. My point is, he was over way too quickly, and that's what they're doing with these NXT people.
If you have someone with potential, you really think you should hold them back?
If you don't hold them back after they maximize their potential for 6 months, a year, 2 years tops, where else they going?
I agree with you in that I think everybody's overexposed to some degree. No one needs to be on 52 episodes each year.
Okay. Let's parallel this with this.
Here we go, baby. I love it. I love this discussion.
The Who, Barry Manilow, Barry White, U2. These are bands that have been around forever, and U2 is still selling out stadiums. Okay? These wrestlers that they have coming in, they are not groomed. They are not built for success. They are not built at an elevation thing where, I'll put it like this. What's those two boys? The Machine, what?
Heavy Machinery.
Heavy Machinery.
The tag team.
You've seen The Undertaker for 20-something years, right? You think Heavy Machinery is going to be around 5-10 years from now?
No.
Why?
It's just, no, I don't think it's a gimmick that has a lot of life to it. I think you'll eventually see the heftier one. I think his name is Otis, be kind of an undercard comedy guy.
My point with the musical acts,
Yeah.
my point with The Undertaker, they do not develop talent anymore for longevity.
Well, Undertaker came in just the opposite of what you said. He came in and he beat everybody, and he's still beating everybody.
But back then, it made more sense. Back then, it made more. He came in beating everybody. Then he was groomed from one gimmick, and he elevated to something else, something that's going to be around forever. And after he died, you still going to remember him. They're not doing that with these people now.
I'll agree with you on that. I think I'll tell you this. This is where we disagree, and maybe we even agree in an indirect way. I think the big problem right now is they don't bring anybody in to be a superstar. Everybody comes in, they win one week.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
They lose the next week. They win one week, they lose the next week. They win one week, they lose the next week. So the fans might enjoy seeing them, but they know over the past 18 years, don't get too attached to somebody that's over right off the bat, because they're going to wind up jobbing out too soon. I think right now, Ricochet is an absolutely phenomenal talent that they could build up to be the Rey Mysterio of this generation, someone that could headline pay-per-views for them for years to come. They have him in losing clean his first few months in to also Rans on the mid-card. Drew McIntyre, who's about as over as dry paint. Baron Corbin, who I think Baron Corbin has a lot of potential, but he's certainly not there yet. Ricochet shouldn't be losing to any of those types of talents. Outside of a select few heel main eventers, Ricochet shouldn't lay down clean to anybody at this point. But what do? They have to feature him every week on Raw or SmackDown, depending upon which brand he's on at any given time. Thus, he's overexposed. Thus, they run out of fresh matches. I think they either need to expand the roster with quality mid-card and undercard talent, or they need to go back to maybe 1 or 2 squash matches a week to keep it fresh, baby.
You answered your own question.
How did I do that?
To fix the WWE's problem, build stars. Go back to the practice of building stars, and your fan base will increase. Your viewership will increase because you got a bunch of people that people want to turn on their TV and buy tickets to see. These people now, they got rid of the role of the male manager. Why? These people cannot cut promos.
300% right.
They can't cut promos, and the people that are cutting promos, you got people that over the years can't wrestle their way out of a paper bag, but they have personality. They have promos they can cut, and people will buy tickets just to see their entrances.
Yep. Very right about that. Do you think that select squash matches would work in 2019?
Yeah, I think so. If they went back to that practice,
if you had,
where they had job guys, yep.
I think if you had 1 or 2 squash matches a week with the intent of trying to get over A, the wrestler's personality, and B, their move set, so the fans know when to react to the wrestlers' big moves and more competitive matches, I think it could be very successful. And at the same time, you would lessen the load on having to have so many repeat matches over and over and over and over again. You see the same people week after week after week after week, year after year after year after year. If you know you can tune in any given Monday or any given Friday night now and be guaranteed to see these top people, there's no incentive to go out of your way to see it.
You know, I mean...
It's too repetitive.
Yeah, but
for
see,
me.
the thing is, like you said, you could have maybe one of those. You know, Superstars was built of a bunch of squash matches and then a main event, and then then fans, you know, wanted to see that. But you can't have too many of those now because you done fed the fans steak and potatoes too long.
Yep. Yep.
You know, so you can't feed them.
You can't give them too many frozen dinners.
Right, and then go back to those frozen dinners, and then think that you're gonna have, you think you're gonna have a successful show. You know, you don't treated them too long.
I think.
Spoiled them.
For all the people that'll knock WCW, what a failure it was, and so on and so forth. And while it did have years of complete and utter failure, at its peak, when it was at its hottest, you're talking about a company, one single company, quote-unquote brand. They had about 150 talents under contract. Every week, it was almost something fresh, something new, until they got to the point where they kept rehashing the same finish almost ad nauseum every week with an NWO brawl or another repetitive title change or another repetitive heel turn. Yeah, they lost the creativity and the magic that made WCW the success it was when it defeated WWE so many weeks in a row in the ratings battle. WCW at its peak had 150 or so talents under contract, so every episode had a freshness to it, something unique to it. When was the last time you watched an episode of WWE television outside of some of the reunions, outside of some of the episodes where they have a rare appearance or a marquee build-up, that feels fresh to you? It feels like it's been the same episode almost in rerun with a few minor changes to the characters for a decade at this point.
Well, that's the golden question, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
They gotta figure out a way to get the fans excited again. You know, like you said, the reunion shows and you know, when they have something special, you know, that's when the network ramp up, that's when TV ramp up, and you know, that's when those events are sold out. You know, it's you know, and I can't answer that for them because, you know, they went in a certain way so long, so that's what you used to seeing. So you like, I don't know, what do y'all do? You know,
I think AEW has done a good job getting the fans excited. As much as I wish NXT, it's lacking to me in a 2-hour format. I think it was a better show with a 1-hour format.
yeah, but see, the problem with AEW is AEW gives you every week. How long will that last?
It needs to have more of an ebb and a flow
It's
to
got
it.
to, right. It's got to calm down.
You can't go 110 miles per hour every week.
You can't go 110 miles an hour, number one, because if you go 110 miles an hour, when you go slow down to 90, people are going to want to know what the hell I'm looking at. And then number two, you are putting your people at risk.
The one takeaway I have from AEW is that it feels like I think every good show should have maybe 2 or 3 takeaways each week from watching the episode. When you try and give fans 8 big takeaways from each week's episode, nothing sinks in at that point, and you start to lose them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to, you know, turn it up, then you need to turn it up, slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, like a
AEW,
good, like, yeah.
It's almost like a rocket coming out of a cannon, and it doesn't stop until the episode's over. Then at the end of the 2 hours, you're left with, wow. And then, what did I just see almost? One analogy that I like to give is that if you asked my little wrestling historical brain, I could run off to you probably the top 4 or 5 matches from each of the what were monthly WWF cards at the Boston Garden from the first time I went in August of 1986 until it closed in May of 1995.
Yeah, well, see, a lot of fans that know better, that, you know, I get a lot of fans that come up to me that are my age or just the age during that era where they were cognizant of watching wrestling, that watched it back then. And every one of them that watch it today will all tell you that it was much better back then. And even going back to when I was young, watching Bruno Sammartino, and you know, they got an hour of it, but they didn't get an hour of main events.
Right.
You know, they got a bunch of squash matches.
They get to sample.
They got to sit there and they got to build. They got to build. They got to build on television for an hour to where you were just excited about the main event. And that kept people in their seats. Now, when it's all main events, you know, you can go get popcorn and make a sandwich and not think nothing of it.
Right.
And that's what's missing. But you can't go, but you want to catch-22 situation because you can't go back now.
Right.
Because these fans today, they're not going to get it.
It would have to be a long-term re-education, I think.
Oh no! If you started to do it, you're gonna crunch yourself out. You're gonna crunch yourself.
That's what
out
I
of
mean. A whole
business.
generation of fans would have to be retaught, while new ones that come to wrestling, they wouldn't know any better. But it would be a long process to make that work again.
Right. They never should have got away from. They never should have got away from that.
Well, that's what the Monday Night Wars did, for better or worse. It took away from the concept of the squash match to what we see now, all feature matches each and every week, to the point where they don't resonate, they don't stick with you, they're largely forgettable, and they're repetitive. They happen so many times on free TV, on pay-per-views, multiple TVs, multiple pay-per-views, to the point fans get sick of them. And I think that is yet another problem the industry faces, trying to keep it fresh. I tell you, yet another industry issue we have right now is the big move, what I thought was a great move, and I still think is a great move, that SmackDown made, going from the USA Network on cable to the Fox Network. It opened up with a huge bang, October, I believe it was the 4th, in Los Angeles, California. Big night, The Rock returned, many other big stars sitting in the front row, did a pretty good rating, and each week from there, the rating has continued to sink. Fox has done a great job promoting it across all of its different channels and platforms. It's got some great exposure during NFL football games. It's got some great exposure during the Major League Baseball playoffs and World Series, yet the fans continue to tune out. What's the problem with Fox on network TV?
No, the problem is not necessarily, well, number one, with Fox, you got a whole different audience that you got to acclimate. Fox is used to seeing not the Flash. Fox is used to seeing a whole different kind of programming. See, with USA, you had it set. You had your fans set. You had your kind of fans that knew on Monday night, we gonna tune in and we gonna watch this. And on SmackDown, they went over to the Sci-Fi Channel, and you had those fans. On Fox, first of all, with all the advertising that you're doing, and with everything, fans ain't even found you yet. Because there's a lot of fans that want to know what the hell happened, where the hell they at. Because everybody hasn't seen those ads.
Then why aren't the ratings going up every week?
Because I just told you, the fans, everybody don't even know. Everybody don't even know that they're on Fox now.
Everybody that watches Raw knows where they are. Everybody that watches NXT knows where they are. Anyone that watches a football game or a baseball game on Fox knows where they are. They had a very successful rating the first week. Why are less people watching every week? Are they forgetting that the channel exists?
Well, okay. The big thing is, it's the big fundamental problem with the business, period. Wrestling was at its best when you had storylines that people wanted to follow. Mm-hmm. You just throwing matches together now for the sake of throwing matches together. Who wants to see that? You know, without getting too dramatic, you want to follow a storyline in that soap opera vein where people want to know what happens next. And that's where they should go to, like I said, without getting too reality TV cemented. But you want people to tune in, and they want to see matches that are going on for a reason. And I'm not talking about Brock Lesnar beating up Randy Orton's father or whoever did it, or whatever. I'm talking about real stories. And I'm not talking about stuff you can't buy, like Bobby Lashley is with
Lana.
Oh my God.
Awful.
No, I'm talking about somebody writing some stuff to get people that really want to follow it, that is wrestling based, that is just really something that the fans want to, like a serial of the 1930s or whatever year that was. People ran to the movies to see what happened next.
Yeah.
If they can find a way to get back into that particular vein of storytelling, you're going to see a resurgence of wrestling like you've never seen before.
Were you surprised that Bischoff got canned so quick?
I was surprised he got hired.
Really?
Yeah. See, Bischoff is not a follower.
True. I mean, he's used to doing it his own way with his own style.
And, you know, the blame game goes real thick when it comes to any business, to be honest with you. You know, something don't go right, you know, I pray for Bruce Pritchard every night.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is a real tough spot to be in.
Because you have a label of executive producer, and at the same time, just about any concept and idea you can come up with can be squashed in milliseconds.
And I'm surprised I woke up and read that Bruce Pritchard even went back, because it seems on the surface, I don't know the inner workings of it, but him and Conrad Thompson was killing it.
Yeah, something to wrestle with. I emceed, you sang at the live shows.
I mean, he was getting, they were getting crowds like a WWE show.
I don't know about quite that
yeah,
big,
no,
but
I'm exaggerating.
hugely
But
successful,
they
though.
were-
Hugely successful.
Yeah, I mean, they would sell them House of Blueses out.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to that. I said that podcast is really this great, and it's pretty good.
A lot of fun.
I did about, and I want to thank you for setting that up. I did about 6 or 7 shows with them.
Well, you know what? Where memories are made and dreams come true. We're just like Disney World here in the Millennium Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Well, we had some fun, and hopefully, you know what? Knock on wood. We'll have more nights, more weekends like that as time continues. But Bischoff, I was really surprised they let him go so quick. For the sake being, they really built him up to not just the wrestling audience, not so much, but the shareholders that they were bringing in, these two creative powerhouses in Heyman and Bischoff, to shore up the 2 shows. Then in 4 months, Bischoff was off with his head. I thought it was kind of quick.
Did he get fired or did he leave? I don't even know.
No, he was released.
The ins and outs of the story.
Yeah, he's gone now, completely from the company, and that's a shame. I like Eric Bischoff a lot. He's been here on the show before. He's a friend of the program, and we hope Eric finds great success in his next wrestling venture.
Yeah. Well, I can rest assured Bischoff ain't going nowhere. You're always going to see him.
Well, you know where I think they're missing the boat right now? When you watch these football games, you watch these baseball fans, you're trying to attract perhaps, like the wrestling fans know where it is. Let's call a spade a spade. You're trying to get the casual fan that may only watch it a few times a year. You're trying to get the lapsed fan that may be tuned out of wrestling. You're trying to get new fans. So sitting around watching an NFL football game, you got a bunch of guys watching the game. Oh, look at this. You got some AC/DC, get ready for a good time. SmackDown's on Friday night. And you have 4 stars you're advertising. You got Roman, you got Kofi, and then you got blue-haired Sasha Banks, and you got Bayley. Now, do you think trying to promote Sasha Banks and Bayley to that type of demographic is helping the cause at all? Because I don't. I don't think that demographic cares in the least about seeing Bayley and Sasha Banks. I think the women overkill right now is part of the big problem that WWE is facing, and no one wants to say it out loud because it's not politically correct. I don't think the fans care. I think they're turning off many more fans than they're turning on with this women's revolution.
No, I couldn't agree with you more.
Good.
And like you said, I mean, it's bad to say out loud, but I mean, they're not bringing it. You understand what I'm saying? They just not. I mean, if they were, I'd be the first one to say so and advocate for them. But see, first of all, why they all got to be so pretty?
You think they need ugly women to get it over?
mean,
All right.
AEW, for what it's worth, you know, they're going to do great with Awesome Kong. I mean,
there's a winner right there.
She
Yep.
is, she's a Mabel of the women's division. You know, if you want my real opinion about it.
That's a great lady and a great talent.
And
I love Awesome
I
Kong.
think she's a great talent. I think she brings a balance to their women's division, or the women's division when she was over at WWE. And you know, everybody don't need to look good on TV. I mean,
And I'll tell you this, I think a part of the problem is too, and again, it's not PC to say in 2019, but the offense isn't as realistic, in very few exceptions, as the men. I think if the men went out there and worked as light as most of the women do, they'd be castrated. And I think most people watch professional wrestling for a form of simulated violence. I think WWE's best course of action at this point would be to move all the women to Raw and have the first hour of Raw be exclusively all women for the fans that enjoy the women's wrestling. Then they'd really have
you talk about killing the first hour of Raw, then.
Well, if that many people love these women's wrestlers, I don't think it could hurt.
They don't. You don't got enough people to support that.
Then why do they keep parading it out there for fans? When they pushed that hashtag in 2015, Give Divas a Chance,
I'm going to tell you
they
why.
were talking about giving them a chance, not giving them a third of the show.
I'm going to tell you why they did it, because they have to do it.
Why do they have to?
Because in this day and age, if you exclude women from anything, or you visually minimize women, then you're going to have a problem.
I don't say eliminate them. I say put them in the position where they have a chance to succeed.
If you even placate them, and it even looks like you placating them, you're going to have a problem.
Well, you have the NBA, you have the WNBA, and that seems to work. I don't know why you can't have a WWE. Give these ladies their own platform to compete on. If the fans love it and support it, I think that's awesome. If they don't want to see it, tune out.
No. We already got problems where we at. So you're going to create something to create a problem? Who's going to look at that?
I think it would help the other 2 hours of Raw.
You
don't think so?
No.
All right, we disagree.
You're
That's
talking
fine.
about an hour of TV, and you talking about the ratings going down now. You talking about an hour of TV where ain't going to be no ratings.
I'm trying.
Okay, and I'll put it like this. Let me put it like this. This particular crop of women are not ready for that.
And these are the best crop of women we've seen in a long, long time.
Then we need to see a better crop.
They work hard. They're tireless advocates for the industry. But in just a lot of cases, the offense does not look believable.
Well,
like
that's
Sasha
the reason
Banks
why
and
you
Bayley.
can't. That's the reason why you ain't getting your WWE.
I hate to make it sound like I'm attacking Bayley or Sasha Banks, but it's almost like they want to be Eddie Guerrero and Macho Man for Halloween. They go out there and imitate their moves. Sasha Banks' moves don't look like they'd crack an egg. And I mean, it just doesn't resonate with what the product is. It's great that they want to give these women a chance and a great platform. I just think they're hurting the core of their business, or what the core of the business should be, which is simulated violence, action and adventure with larger-than-life characters. And they don't have that with the women. Maybe I'm the bad guy for saying it.
Here you go advocating they get their own show. No.
Well, I think 3 hours of Raw is too long no matter how you slice it and dice it.
It's always been too long. They need to go back to 2 hours. People have been saying that. People in the know have been saying that for years.
Well, USA doesn't want to lose it. WWE doesn't want to lose the money. I think if they really want to get to the heart of the issue, if there is money to potentially be made with these women on their own, I say give them an hour. Or either that, how about giving them an hour on WWE Network?
That they can do, because they got a network where they can do anything they want. So yeah, give them their own program. Okay, I don't know. How did the numbers do with that women that women main evented at WrestleMania?
People left so underwhelmed. I remember getting on. They were nice. They put me in the friends and family type section, and I left on the elevator because I can't do the stairs, as you know. But I just remember listening, because I like to listen to what the people have to say. And I was around people in the know with the friends and family. But when I was on the elevator, I was on with the regular fans. Very underwhelmed and disappointed. They said they weren't ready for the show to be over.
So
what does that say about their big historic
What
main
does that
event?
say about your idea then?
I don't think it would be a success. I probably wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. But I do know there are fans that are very passionate about and love women's wrestling. And I think you have a core group of female athletes right now that are as athletic as they've ever been. Now, that doesn't mean They are realistically portraying the simulated violence in the ring, but they're about as athletic as we've ever seen. The
Let me
days
ask you
of
a question.
the Bella
when the last
twins
time,
are in
when
the
the last
past,
time
at
you seen
least.
an episode of WoW?
Is that the women's organization out west?
Exactly. You don't
I've
know.
never
You don't
seen
know
it.
nothing about it.
Never seen it. I've
Okay,
heard of
then.
it. I've never seen it.
That's my point.
It doesn't appeal to me.
Okay,
I remember
exactly.
when
So
you-
why would this?
when you see a match like Charlotte and Asuka from New Orleans at WrestleMania 34, that wasn't a good women's wrestling match. That was a good wrestling match. If they can present these women as an equal in the ring to the men, present it all you want. But if they're not an equal to the men, for the most part, they belong on their own separate island.
But who?
One man's opinion.
Okay, but how many of them have the talent that Charlotte and Asuka have? You don't have a whole women's
You
pool.
don't. No,
exactly.
and that's the
You don't have
problem.
a whole women's pool that have that. So what are you going to do with an hour of television with them on it?
So when you have, maybe the point I'm trying to circle back to. You have your Raw, you have your SmackDown. You're pushing Fox they've done a great job promoting SmackDown, I think. But you put on that TV, and there's Sasha Banks, there's Bayley. I'm an 18 to 49-year-old man. I'm saying, this is the shit you want me to watch? Click. That's just my opinion.
But yet you want
I
more.
wish I was wrong. I don't want more. Personally, I don't want to see any of it. Outside of a Charlotte and Asuka, Becky Lynch, there's 4 or 5 of them that can really go. But the rest of them, it's just there's no comparison to what the male counterparts can do. And I know it's not PC. I just wish the fans that like women's wrestling and love women's wrestling had the avenue to enjoy it that didn't take away from those that want to watch a more manly, intense, aggressive product.
It's not a matter.
I like
it's
angry,
not a matter,
intense wrestling.
It's not a matter of. It's not even a matter of PC. It's a matter of what's the truth.
What's good business?
Exactly, and that's not.
Just show me some number. Show me some statistic that says these women, it's working. Show me some kind of an uptick in business anywhere outside of maybe you have a half dozen little girls that go to live events now. But is that a fan base that's really going to stick with the professional wrestling product in decades to come? Little girls that dress up in Bailey's headbands? Are they really going to build WWE around that fan base? Because I don't think it exists. I think you had more women that watched lusting over the men as you do having the little girls that look up to Bailey giving hugs. One man's opinion. And I wish I was wrong, because if I was wrong, it'd be better for the business right now, because all the metrics would be up. But there's no metrics that are up.
Well,
outside of the television deals.
Yeah, they're not going to save the business. You can cancel that.
Well, at least I agree with you. Tony and I battle, and John Cena Sr. and I battle about that.
Oh, they think the women going to save them. They think the women should have.
They think, especially Johnny.
Okay, well, yeah.
I just want to see, Oscar, if you could just show me one metric that says, well, if you look at this, it says it's working. Okay, I'd swallow my pride and say I'm wrong or I'm partially wrong. But where every core metric in WWE is down, outside of their television revenue, which is up for reasons that has nothing to do with women's wrestling, it's based upon the fact that the genre is, or largely, DVR-proof. Just show me anything that shows an uptick in the business, and I'll say, I'm wrong.
Okay, well, I'm not the one to ask.
Are we going to be waiting for a while for an answer?
Yeah, because
a piece of paper
you won't get the answer from me, because it's not going to happen.
I don't know. As someone that enjoys wrestling, it disappoints me because it's taken away from my enjoyment of it. As someone that looks at it as a business, it bothers me because it hurts the business, I think. Outside of, again, trying to make this small fan base happy, it's made a small fan base happy at the expense of the larger pool of fans, and that's, I think, a mistake from a business point of view. One man's opinion. I could be wrong. As I know, I can only imagine the feedback section is just going to roast me. I can feel the arrows being shot in my direction now.
No, yeah, no.
I'm sexist, I'm this, I'm that. I don't mean anyone any harm. As human beings, they're magnificent people.
Facts are facts, and business is business. And it's not a fact women, that we attacking women or nothing like that. These women are not taking it to that level if given that opportunity.
Preach, brother.
That's the point.
Tell them.
It's not matter of fact, whether or not, because women, given the right circumstances, and you make women that don't even like wrestling, love wrestling, or watch wrestling, will turn the TV on with the right pool of talent. You get women that really can get in the ring and sweat it out and wrestle, and some women that can cut some kick-ass promos, then you will have a show. But this particular group of women are where they're at right now, at the top tier of wrestling, learning what they need to learn, that maybe a year, 2 years from now, they can be that. But today they can't.
Give me a Jackie Moore. Give me a Luna. Give me a Sherry Martel. Give me someone that's going to go in there and lay it in. That's why I like
give
Asuka.
me a leader. Yeah, Trish Stratus.
Asuka works like one of the boys. That's why I like Asuka so much. She gets in there and she works like one of the boys. She doesn't work like a woman. That's why she's over, even when WWE does nothing creatively with her.
Well,
Charlotte's a great athlete.
Well, that's the point of the whole thing.
There's a lot of room for improvement elsewhere.
I told you the whole thing.
Yep.
When it comes down to creative, across the board, they need to go back, start from scratch, and create some angles and some stories. And like I said, that'll cure the whole problem right now.
And you know, the funny thing is, in our very own studio, in 2020, John Cena Sr. wants to begin his Fabulous Women of Wrestling organization. So I'm interested to see what ideas Johnny has for these potentially fabulous women. I don't know. I don't think there's as much of a fan base for it as an event like we have, believe it or not, Saturday night, December the 28th, Memorial Hall, downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, just 2 blocks down the road. It's MWF Project X as part of the 8th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. We'll have to wait and see. I can't knock something until I've seen it.
Well, he's going to need, if he's smart, he'll defer to you as much as he possibly can. This is why you need to forgive, because here you go. It might be a money-making opportunity for you.
You're the VP, baby. You need to talk to the man, not me. He doesn't want to listen to what I have to say.
I disagree because he didn't offend me.
All right, wrestling fans, it's been another interesting, great debate. We'll be back after this brief timeout to wrap up the show. I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Let us tell you how the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation can help raise cash for your nonprofit cause. Experience the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation live in your city, throughout New England, the tri-state area, down through the Carolinas, out to our friends in the Midwest and beyond.
If your nonprofit organization is looking for an interactive turnkey experience while putting enough fun into fundraising, you've met the perfect tag team partner to work with every step of the way.
The MWF offers a variety of packages for groups of almost any size, from our live events at the Boston Garden, the Kowloon Entertainment Dining Complex, and the legendary Suffolk Downs, to high school gyms and function halls. We've presented live events everywhere and anywhere.
Since 2001, the MWF's mission has been simple: keep the kids off the streets. Under the leadership of President David Reese, we bring the superstars of yesterday, today, and tomorrow to your town. Not for a wrestling show, but an event that features action-packed in-ring wrestling, autograph, pose photo opportunities, Q&A sessions, and so much more. It's the best of sports and entertainment. The week of your event, we can add on to the endeavor with anti-bullying campaigns, library meet and greet reads, youth sport concussion seminars, and more.
Our live events are fit for fans of any age from 5 to 95. This fall is part of our new Kids Club program. We offer live event experiences exclusively for the youngest of fans. On the flip side, we can produce a tailor-made event for fans of an older demographic as well. We work with you every step of the way to get the word out to fans near and far on our local television offerings and to over 50,000 fans and growing on our social media platforms.
Your success is our success. If your group has had enough of candy bar and wrapping paper sales and has the energy to team with our passionate fan base, bringing the NWF experience to your community is the answer to put smiles on faces while raising cash for your cause.
Contact us today to get the ball rolling for your custom-made event that you'll want to bring back year after year to your community.
Don't just take it from us. Here are the folks we've teamed up with in the past.
All right, wrestling fans, again, great debate with my good friend Oscar. It's been great having you back in studio, buddy.
Man, it's always good to talk to you. You got such twisted ideas.
Well,
I got to come
I
in
don't know about
town
that, but
and get your brain on track every now and then.
the lights in this great studio just seem to bring out great ideas with great people sometimes.
Well, sometimes, yeah, it does. This studio has a lot to do with it.
It's going to create some great moments again that are going to lead to 2 blocks down the road. It's the perfect time to get them tickets over at BostonWrestling.com for our homecoming on December the 28th. We got a huge weekend of action headed your way. And then, like we said, in 2020, John Cena Sr. has some plans of his own. Aside from being able to get these tickets as a great holiday gift, what about that DVD that's coming out soon? The multi-disc DVD set, the documentary, The Man on the Mission himself, Oscar. What a story you had in entertainment before you entered the world of professional wrestling, through that WWE run, and then a look at what happens to some of the great performers in WWE after they leave the company. You're going to feel like you're part of the company when they watch that multi-disc DVD released this holiday season.
Well, I appreciate it. It wasn't something that we rushed and did.
We took our time.
We took our time.
Both of us were nearly dead by the time it came out, but we certainly took our time.
We took our time
to do it right.
Which means that a lot of thought went into it. It's better when you take your time and do something. I'm one of these microwavable people. I love things right away. You tell me we're gonna make a DVD. I want to sit down 2 hours, do the interview, and then 2 weeks later, I want the DVD out.
It's like how David Reese likes his women.
Yeah, I know. But it wasn't that way this time. We took years to do this DVD.
And the fans are going to absolutely love it when they get a chance to see it. Again, fans, this holiday season, they can get it on the website. Check out our eBay page. We got so many great wrestling goodies on there. Again, it helps the cause. It helps us keep the lights on, no pun intended. Like, share, and subscribe. These great videos, fan. Again, every Monday night, it's MWF Alter at 7 p.m. Every Tuesday afternoon at 11 a.m., which is technically the late morning, but who's counting? We're with Tony Atlas, and we've got guests like Oscar popping in. We got guests like Axe and Smash Demolition popping in. We've got John Cena Sr., unfortunately, popping in. You never know. Like, share, and subscribe. Until we speak again, folks, on the hard camera. There we go. For Oscar, I'm Dan Marotti. You and yours. Be well.